Well, calling for a slowdown on spending. The Erie County Comptroller is warning his colleagues of a potential financial crisis on the horizon if spending doesn't change soon.
To tell us more, we are joined by Comptroller Kevin Hardwick. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
So tell us about this letter to the legislature. What does it entail?
Well, I think it's my job as Chief Financial Officer of the county to just put everybody on notice that I think we may be in a position where we need to temper our expectations. You know, the last few years have been really great. I mean, in terms of the money coming into the county, of course, the reason for that was COVID, and that's bad. But we got a lot of federal money, a lot of state money that we weren't anticipating, and we were able to do a lot of great things with that. Coupled with the fact that I think the county executive has been prudent in a lot of his budgeting. You know, we're in good times, but that can change on a dime. Every 20 years or so, the county has a crisis. I mean, people will go back to the 80s and they'll tell you that's where we got our temporary 8th cent in the sales tax from. And of course, in 2005, 2006, there was the red and green budget, which left us with higher sales tax again, higher property tax. There were about 1,500 layoffs. Right now, again, this is not the sky is falling, things are still good, but there are a lot of signs out there that show that a storm is brewing, a pending recession. You've got the stock market crashing, which is going to affect our pension contributions. The state comptroller asks all municipalities for money every year to invest in the stock market so that they can pay New York State employees and local government employees their pensions when they retire. Well, right now that pension contribution, since Wall Street has been doing so well, has not had to be that great. But now that the stock market is tanked, you can bet that the state comptroller will be asking us and every other local government in New York State for more money next year. It's just a series of things. You know, I look out and I see it and I say, you know, we ought to tell the legislature that, you know, the days of wine and roses may be over, that we have to temper our expectations and prepare to cut back a little bit.
People might be watching at home thinking, well, here we are in a big period of inflation, pending recession. Folks at home, I'm sure, are cutting back, given the fact that we're seeing 30% increases at the grocery store, exorbitantly high gas prices. People might be saying, well, this just makes good fiscal sense, given the fact that this is our government, this is our tax money. Are you getting that response?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Our largest source of local revenue is the sales tax. And during a recession, that's going to take a hit. Yep. It's even going to take a bigger hit this year because the thing that's really driving inflation, the thing that you and I know most about is every time we go to the gas pump, we see we're spending $30, $40 more to fill up our tank than we were last year. Well, the problem is that everybody's feeling that and they're not having that money to spend. The extra money that we're spending on gas, because we cut the gas tax, we don't tax in Erie County anything beyond the first $2 per gallon, so that extra $3 per gallon, we're not getting any tax on it. Yet people are spending money on that, and that's money that they won't spend on items that we would get tax on. So we've already seen a year-to-year drop, significant drop of like 35% in last month's sales tax revenue, and that should give us pause, because if sales tax tanks, we're in a lot of trouble. So I think we've got to, again, it's not hair on fire, it's not sky is falling. It's, you know, let's be prepared. You know, you take the family. We've had a good time. We've done a lot of good with that money. But it's like taking the family to Disney World. You know, you spend a lot of money on that, and it's good. You're glad you did it. But when you get back home, you got to tell the kids, hey, you know, you may not get as much for your birthday this year or for Christmas because we did spend that money on Disney World.
So, Kevin, when you look at everything here, what would you say are some of the biggest concerns? Things like the stadium, ECC, things like that. Yeah,
well, I mean, that's the other thing. We're buying a new stadium, which I think Bills fans like myself would agree is a good investment. And I think we did get I know it's controversial, but from my way of looking at things, we did get a good deal. I think the state got a good deal. You know, and I think the Bills will be good for us for the next 30 years at least. But that's still something we have to pay off. And we have to realize that in order to pay the debt service on that, the debt service, since we haven't sold the bonds yet, and probably will not till next year, is going to be higher because the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. So there's another cost that, we're going to have to cover. So all the discretionary spending, there's certain things we have to do,
Sure.
but the discretionary spending, the sorts of things that we've been able to do a lot of in recent years, do a lot of good for a lot of people, we may have to rein in a little bit.
When it comes to the timing of this, is this something that you are asking to start tomorrow, or is this something, hey, for the rest of 2022?
I think the county executive is beginning to assemble his budget that he'll send over to the county executive in October for the year 2023. The legislature can then increase or decrease that budget, and I think now is the time to give them a little warning and say, let's change our expectations.
All right. Erie County Comptroller Kevin Hardwick, that's all the time we have this afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kevin.